Welcome to the first video in this series on zombies and reinforcement learning. So I actually started putting this together back in the beginning of October. I was going to release a little zombie and AI series just in time for Halloween as kind of a joke. And then, ironically, I ran into some fun problems with this project. And I'm just now getting around to it right before Christmas. So the actual game took 2 weeks to code. The AI portion took from the middle of October until basically now, which is just kind of a fun part about how unpredictable sometimes these things can be and what you might run into. So let's start by talking about what we're doing here. So I've got other videos on just kind of getting started with reinforcement learning. That's not what this is. This is actually going to be focused on the process of building a game, specifically in Pygame, and then converting that game into something that can run as an OpenAI gym environment, and then training a double Q agent with DQN on that custom environment. So the real focus here is going to be on the custom environment angle, how to build a custom game, take that, convert it into something that AI can play with the OpenAI gym interface, and then we'll go ahead and train something to play it. This is the first time I've done a full custom environment from scratch. So I'll be walking through kind of some of the mistakes I made, the pitfalls, the issues you run into, and all that fun stuff. So before we get started, let me start by showing you the game. And this is the AI playing. And while it seems a little spastic, it's actually really good. And you can see we're advancing to level 2. This is a multi-level game. And as the levels progress, it's going to, get different walls, faster zombies, more zombies. We just kind of slowly scale up the difficulty level. And what we're going to be doing, this will really be broken into 3 sort of main parts. We're many videos, but 3 main topics. So we're going to completely code the game from start to finish in a human playable way. So we'll put this together in a way that a person can play it. Then we're going to spend some time taking that and refactoring it into something that a machine can play. And then we're going to walk through actually building the agent that can successfully play it. So I'm going to go ahead and turn the demo off. I'll let it play here in the background. Let's talk through some of the assumptions I'm making and sort of the things I'm using. So I'm going to be on Linux. I don't think there's anything about this that wouldn't work on Windows, but I do just want to start out there. I'm on Linux. You may see differences on Windows. I am going to be using VS Code. You do not have to. You can use whatever editor you're comfortable with, but you'll see me primarily working in VS Code throughout the course here. I'm going to be using Anaconda for managing my Python environment. So I think quite a few people are going to be using that. If you're not, I would recommend creating a virtual environment in whatever tools you're comfortable with. And then we are going to be using Python 3.11. So that's one part that is important. If you're using a later version of Python or an earlier version of Python, this may not work quite the same way for you. So I would make sure that whatever tools you're using to create your virtual env, you are creating Python 3.11. Finally, there is a starter project that's going to be out there. And that starter project will have this set of files. So it's going to have the images used in the game. It's going to have the sounds used in the game. It will have a walls.py, just because I didn't want to make you write all of these, coordinates for the walls. That sounds awful. And then it's going to have the requirements.txt. So that link will be down in the video description. You should go ahead and grab it and pull that down as your starter. So let's go ahead and we're just going to do a conda create --name. Again, assuming you're using Anaconda. And I am going to call this zombie shooter YouTube. You can call this whatever you'd like. Just, actually I'll do zombie shooter v1. And you'll notice I've got Python equals 311. We're just going to say yes. All right, I'm going to go over to my tab where I've got the zombie shooter starter project downloaded. And I'm going to go ahead and do conda activate zombie shooter v1. And then we're going to do a pip install -r requirements.txt. And a note on this requirements.txt. So I've got this extra index URL in here to pull down CUDA. If you need a different version of CUDA for your GPU, or you don't have a GPU, this may need to change for you. This works very, very well with the 30 series on my Linux install, but you may need to tweak this. Something I would recommend is going to NVIDIA's, Torch installation instructions, and they're going to have a way to get the CUDA install that is appropriate for your system. All right, so this will take just a moment. I'm going to hit pause while this runs. All right, and that looks like it's finished. So let's go ahead and fire up an IDE here, code dot, and that's going to get us our VS Code. All right, so we've got VS Code. Let's just kind of start by stubbing out the project. We've got our walls.py already. We're going to create a bullets.py. We're going to create a game.py that kind of holds the game itself and the main game loop. We're going to create a main.py. And we're going to do a characters.py. And then we are also going to create a util.py. All right, and our strategy here, again, is going to be to build a complete human playable game with minimal concessions for AI, and then kind of strip that down and turn it into an AI playable thing. There will be some code duplication. There will be some effort duplication. If I just sat down with the final project and we coded through that, you would have less total code to write. But the whole point of this series is to show you how to take a game and turn it into something that an AI can play, an OpenAI compatible gym environment. So I don't want to skip any steps. I want to start with something that's more or less not set up for gym. Again, some small concessions. We'll have a step method. It just won't do what you'd expect it to do for gym. And then, we're going to take that and convert it. So let's go ahead, and I am going to just get a game class out there. So in game, we're just going to say class zombie shooter. And for now, we'll pass. We're not going to do anything with it. I'm going to come over here to main.py. Let's see. And we're just going to go ahead and do some of our imports. So from game import zombie shooter. And then we're going to set some of our variables here. So window width, window height, no, I could spell height, equals 1200, 800. And then we'll do world width, world height equals 1800, 1200. And what that is you'll notice that we kind of pan around the world a little bit in the game. This is setting the overall size of the world that we're playing in, and then the world, world and window height. So we'll do FPS, FPS equals 60. Okay. Now let's come over here to our game, and we're going to add some of the parameters that we need. So we're going to do window width, window, let's see, height, world height, basically all the things we just started out with. World width, FPS, and we're going to start out with sound equals false. So we've got a sound variable. So let's go ahead and come back over here to, let's just do print zombies. We'll pull in import time, and we're going to say time.sleep. Actually, we don't even need to do time.sleep because this isn't a loop yet. We'll get there. Okay, we're just going to start out the class, and in the class definition, self, we'll come back over here and print zombies. All right. And I am being dumb here. This all needs to be in the init method. Sometimes when you're rewriting code you've already written, it's easy to turn your brain off for a minute, which is what just happened there. All right, so now we have our zombie shooter class with our init method with our print zombies. Now I can come back over here to main.py, and in main.py we are going to say game equals zombie shooter, window width equals window width, window height equals window height. Go down to the next line. World height equals world height. And world width equals world width. And then FPS equals FPS. All right. And for our human playable one, we're going to say sound equals true. This doesn't do anything yet, but it will later. And then we're going to have in our game a step method. This is probably the one concession to the fact that this will be AI eventually that we're going to go ahead and code in here, is we're just going to have a step method that takes self and print playing zombies time.sleep 1. All right. So when I first coded this out, I coded out the main loop of the game in main.py, just to kind of stub it all out and make it work. When I started down the path of putting this in, in something that was a little bit more supportable, something that we could turn into an AI experience here. I moved it to the game class, and implemented this step method so that we could call it externally. So that's what we've got here. So we're just going to say this is going to be our game loop. And basically your game loop is you're going to just run it in a while true continuous loop. Hey, we're going to run game.step. We don't have to worry about timing. Pygame is going to take care of that, or some of the things we're going to do in Pygame. So let's go ahead and run this. Hey, and we get our continuous where we kick off our zombies and then we are playing zombies. All right, so that is actually, we'll come in and add, actually I don't even think we have to add other imports later. This is the entire main.py. This is all it's ever going to be while we're working on our human playable version of this. So we can now come in here and start working on our game.py. So let's start with all of our imports because there are a few. Oh, and I also just realized I need to set select interpreter zombie shooter v1. Let's go ahead and import Pygame, import sys. We bullets, actually we've already got our classes, so I'm just going to say from bullets import star, from characters import star. There are no imports there yet, but or there are no classes to import, but we'll get there. So from util import star, and from walls import star. And we'll be a little bit more specific about this as we get into it. But for now, that gets all of our imports. So let's go ahead down in our init method, and I'm going to just delete these. And we're going to go ahead and start to declare the variables that we need. So self.window width equals window width. Oh, again, I am in the step method. So self.window width equals window width. Let's give ourselves a little bit of space here. Self.window height equals window height. Self.world height equals world height. Self.world width equals world width. All right. Some other variables we want self.treasure chest. We'll be including those much later. Equals none. Self.health drop equals none. Self.paused equals false. And then we will say self dot, so there are two gun types in the game. There's a single fire and a shotgun. We're going to start with self dot gun type equals single. Self dot fire mode equals single. All right, and now we get into the Pygame parts. So let's go ahead and do Pygame.init self.screen. This is important. The screen is the object managing the screen for the rest of the time that you're working with this. So we're going to do self.screen equals Pygame display.set mode, and then double parentheses. That's important. And we're going to do window width and window height. All right. We're going to do pygame.display.set caption. Zombie shooter is what we're going to call our game. Self.font equals pygame.font self.sysfont, none and 36, self.clock. This is how Pygame keeps track of the game speed. Pygame.time.clock and self.fps equals FPS. All right, and then we're going to set walls at the beginning to self.walls equals walls1. So let's talk about that for a moment. In our walls.py here, we're basically going to increase the complexity of the map as we go through the levels. So at the beginning, I want a couple of walls just so the player can get used to the idea that walls are a thing. And the walls are going to be green. I really meant for them to look kind of like hedges. So we're going to have a couple of walls. As we go into the second round of the game, we get different walls. As we go into the third level, we get, again, different walls. So, but to start out with, we're just going to start with walls 1. All right. We don't have a player yet, so I'm just going to say to do define player. We're going to set self.background color equals 181, 101, 29. Self.wall color. That should give us a nice orangey background color. 50.32. Self.border color equals 255, 0, 0. Self.announcement font. I know this part is a little bit of a grind. We're just getting through all of the initial variable declarations. Pygame.font.sysfont. Oh, an equal sign would be nice there. This is also probably a good time to say this is not going to be a short series. This is, you can probably tell from the number of files just in sort of round 1 here. We're going to be writing a lot of code. I should have kicked things off with that. If you are not here to spend a few hours while you're building this out, this is not just the first video, 30 minutes, and then we're done. So just know that as we get into it. Self.bullets. We'll need a place to store our bullets. Self.zombies. We need a place to store our zombies. And then we're going to get into things like our zombie top speed. And all these things are variables because we want to change them with the levels. So self.zombie top speed equals 1. Self.level goal. In other words, how many do we have to get to go to the next level? We're going to say 5. Self.max zombie count equals 5. Self.level, we're going to start with 1. And self.sound equals sound. Okay. Now, let's go take a look at our step method. Actually, let's go ahead and run it. Let's see what happens. If we get any crashes, if we get any errors, we're just going to come over here and run main.py. And you notice we get this kind of blank page. Not a whole lot here because we haven't done anything. We set a bunch of variables, but we didn't actually do anything with them. And we're just going to go ahead and kill that. So that is just fine. Let's go ahead and set up our next method, which is going to be it's going to be fill background. And then after the fill background method, that'll probably be a really good stopping point ahead of the next video. So we're going to say self.screen.fill, self.background color. We're going to say score surface. We're going to keep track of our score. Is self.font.render score and self.player. We don't have a player object yet, so we can't do that. Never mind. That's okay. So we can't do score surface. We can't do health surface. We can go ahead and set up our level surface. Self.font.render level, just to give you an idea of what will be here. Self.level. And then we will set true and 0, 0, 0. Self.screen.blit. It's going to kind of post it to the screen. We'll do level surface 10, 60. All right, and that's going to be a position. And then let's see. I think that's probably most of what we can do here. Let's go ahead and throw in a to-do. So to-do, set player stats, and then another to-do, set ammo message and gun type. All right, let's see. Oh, and then we should definitely call self.fill background down here and make sure that it actually works. Oh, and we are not working. Let me look at why. Because we should at least be getting, oh, well, you know what? We haven't done anything to tell it that that color is different yet. We've got our wall color, we've got our background. Well, we did say self.screen.fill background color. Okay, this should be at least doing our background color. Let me take a look at this for a moment. All right, and I think I see what we're missing. We need Pygame.display.flip. Updates display. And if you're wondering why we don't just put it in fill background, so fill background is going to be every single time we loop, we're going to fill the background with the background colors, and then we're going to put the walls on it, and then we're going to put the players and the zombies on it. And then Pygame.display.flip is what at the very end of the loop is going to actually do something. And you can see here we now have our nice background of zombie orange with a level 1 displayed. Eventually that'll be, gun types and number of bullets and lives and all that fun stuff. But for now, it's just level 1 with a background. All right, I am going to go ahead and end this here. In the next video, we'll probably start coding out a little bit more of our main loop, and we might start playing with the player class or zombie class. All right, I'll see you in the next video.